Welcome to FX Streamer Wizard, the channel that not only talks about strategies but also ways to automate them. Today we are going to take a look at the No-Nonsense-Forex strategy. I will try to explain it to you in a short form. So let's get started. First off, the main structure is that we have an entry indicator, an exit indicator, a baseline, an average true indicator, and the confirmation indicator. So the entry indicator tells us when to go long or short. The exit indicator tells us where to exit, and the baseline tells us in what direction we trade. So for instance, if price is above moving average 100, we only go long. If it's below, we only go short. Then we have the average true indicator. It gives us a value of the last 14 candles. I will get to what we are doing with this value in a later. Then we have the confirmation indicator, which is like an entry indicator that also has to be positive for bullish signal and bearish for sell trade. So next up is the main concepts. So we are going over the concepts. The first concept is the risk management part. So the main rule is that we never risk more than 2% of the account size on a currency. This means that we would see where we put our stop loss, and then we would, if the account size would be to 1,000 USD, we never risk more than 20 euro, so 20 USD. So in addition to this, there's a second rule, which means that if there's already an open trade on Euro USD and we get a new trade on USD JPY, then we could not open another trade because USD, we are already in an USD currency trade, so we are not able to put another trade in the same currency, simply because then we would not risk 2% but 4% in total on one currency. It's a very strict risk management, and this is also partly because why it's so great to use. Then there's something called Scaleout. So we always put two positions, and they all have the stop loss of 1.5 times the ATR value, the average true indicator value. So I will show how we calculate it in the later part. Then the take profit of one of the positions has to be 1 time the average true indicator value. Then the second position has no take profit, but when the take profit of the first position is hit, we move stop loss to break even to the entry price. So we take all of the risk off and we let the remaining position run till our exit indicator tells us to exit. Then another key part is to avoid news. So we don't trade news affected pairs. So for instance, we would go on fxstreet.com and we would take a look at the high impact news and on what pairs they are taking place. So for instance, here there would be consumer price index, which is a key market mover, and we want to eliminate the possibility that the trade goes not in favor to our, that the trade that we lose the trade. That's why we just totally don't trade news, so we get a way cleaner edge on the probabilities. This way we can really increase the winning rate of our trading system by eliminating these variables that are influencing it from outside. So another key part is that the strategy is used on high time frames, and it's because we trade 23 pairs, so all major pairs and all minor pairs, and basically the original funder, he's trading the daily time frame, which means that on the daily close, he scans all pairs and puts his trades according to his trading system. And he only needs to work for 10 minutes a day to put his trades. And it has the main benefit that it's less time consuming and you can catch better trends because on high time frames the trends are always higher, are always larger than on small time frames. For instance, if you trade the 1 minute chart, you likely don't get a bigger one as on a high time frame like 4 hours or daily. And also another thing to note is that the initial founder of this strategy only trades 20 minutes before the daily candle close. So it allows him to not get high spreads when the candle closes. Then another thing is that we can also use it on smaller time frames, but it's up to you to decide and configure your system to work on these time frames as well. So talking a bit about the creator, it's basically a prop firm trader called 3P. So it's basically a very good strategy if you want to trade for a company, so you manage company's money. It's basically made to be able to have a low drawdown while maintaining profitability, and that's also what he's doing for living. I would suggest you to check out his channel to get all of the details of the strategy, and let's get into the practical part of. Right now we are in the MetaTrader 4, and as you can see, I'm loaded up different indicators. The first indicator is the Heikenhashi. Here you can see the candles red and white. Then there's a moving average of 13, smooth moving average. The Vada Ata explosion, which is our volume indicator. The absolute strength histogram, which is our main entry indicator. The ATR, and the zero leg MACD, which is our second confirmation indicator. So this is an example of a sell trade. As you can see here, our main indicator, entry indicator, turned bearish because we get this red histogram tick. Our volume indicator is red above the brown line, and on our MACD also here is above the red line and negative. And so the candle closed below the baseline. This means that price is in a bearish trend, and we would open up two positions with a stop loss of 60 times 1.5, so 90 pips stop loss, and take profit of 60 pips. We would open two positions and write them, and once the take profit of the first condition is hit, we would put the stop loss of the remaining position to break even. Now I will go over a bullish trade. Now, right now, this would be a bullish trade. As you can see, we had a green candle that closed above the baseline. Our volume indicator showed us that we had enough volume, we had our confirmation indicator ticking from upside to downside, and our MACD was also positive, as you can see here. Then we would write out this trend. We would take 2 positions again, and we would read the value of the MACD, which at that time was 58 pips. This means we would put the stop loss to around to around 19 pips, a bit less, and put the take profit 1 times ATR would be 58 pips. And once the take profit is hit, we would put the remaining position to break even and ride out the trend until the Heikin-Ashi turns red. So the Heikin-Ashi is our exit indicator, and it tells us when to exit. In our case, it would be when it gets the opposite color of the trend. So finally, there are like 3 rules that still apply. First one is a baseline cross entry. This means that if all your indicators are bullish and your candle is crossing upwards the baseline, then you are allowed to take another trade if you are not in a trade yet. Then there's the 1 candle rule, which states that you have 1 candle for the volume indicator to catch up, and you can still take the trade if price hasn't moved already too much from the initial entry signal. Then there's the ATR rule, which means that moving average plus the ATR value gives you a zone. So around that price zone, you are allowed to take trades. And yeah, so then there's also the very important thing that this strategy really relies on backtesting. You have to manually work with it and find the best indicators for your trading system, and you have to really put on time testing them out on charts. And later on, you can use a simulator or expert advisor to see how they really perform. Then you need to forward test your strategy, but you will have to do it on demo, because behind the logic of the founder is that you really need to work on your strategy before going live with it, and this is very important. Then I will give you a link to download some indicators, to join the Nononsenseforex Discord. And in this Discord, you will be able to find an expert advisor that helps you to automatically put your buy and sell trade. So you only have to press a button. And this expert advisor can be found under tools. Then also the link to the founder's YouTube channel, so you can check out the whole strategy for yourself in more detail. And then feel free to check out my Udemy course that shows you how to create a MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5 expert advisors without coding. It uses FX Streamer, and with this tool you will be able to even automate your no-nonsense forex strategy. I have a link in the description as well for this. And peace out. Check it out.